weekend, workshops, talks, tours, and a legacy project. Here in Worcester, the struggle for liberty and democracy took a decisive turn in the 17th century. The city played a unique role in the English Civil Wars, with both the first and last battles fought here. In 1642, the Battle of Powick Bridge was the first major cavalry engagement of the conflict, bringing a victory for the Royalists. Worcester's support for the monarchy secured it a nickname that endures to this day, the Faithful City. 9 years later, the Battle of Worcester brought the Civil War to an end. By the autumn of 1651, Charles I had been executed, and Charles II's headquarters had been established here at the Commandery, just a short distance from Worcester Cathedral. His forces, mainly Scottish, were holding the city, but Cromwell's new model army and the county militia outnumbered them 2-1, and by the 3rd of September, they were closing in. The battle raged across the city that day, and the tide turned against the Royalist forces. One of the most high-profile casualties was the Duke of Hamilton, a Royalist commander who was responsible for selecting the Commandery as the King's headquarters. He had led a dramatic charge against Cromwell's forces, but his horse was killed under him, and Hamilton was shot in the leg. His men carried him back to the Commandery, but his wound became infected and he died. His dead body was temporarily buried under the floorboards of this room before being reburied in Worcester Cathedral. It was here on Fort Royal Hill that the decisive blow was struck. The parliamentarians took control of the Royalist guns and turned them on the city. Charles II's men could only retaliate by mounting one final desperate charge, the last cavalry charge on English soil, to cover the King's escape. This important battle is today commemorated by this remarkable bronze plaque by artist Kenneth Potts. Reenactments of the events of the Battle of Worcester will be staged this year in both the Commandery and at Fort Royal Park. There will also be a programme of exhibitions, talks, and a Liberty picnic at the Commandery. Such is the importance of the Battle of Worcester in the evolution of liberty and democracy that Fort Royal Hill was visited in 1786 by the second and third Presidents of the United States of America, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Adams's words on that momentous day perfectly capture Worcestershire's importance in the struggle for democratic freedom. And do Englishmen so soon forget the ground where liberty was fought for? Tell your neighbours and your children that this is holy ground, much holier than that on which your churches stand. All England should come in pilgrimage to this place once a year. A pilgrimage to the Worcestershire of today reveals a county of exceptional